asked about the possibility that Judge Merchan might send you to jail. You said something that really kind of got my attention. What did you say? That it didn't faze you in the sense that if that's what it takes, you don't have to be doing this. You could be playing golf every day and you probably wouldn't be charged with anything.
Well, I think I say it about almost all of these cases that are brought against me. They are doing it for the purposes of hurting a political opponent of Biden and trying to get him to win, and he's the worst president in the history of our country. But in the case that you're talking about, I said very strongly that I'm very proud to fight for our Constitution, and if that's what it takes. Everybody said, this is such a minor thing. You don't go to jail for this, all of them. But you don't understand what we're dealing against, Sean. We're dealing against a system that is so corrupt. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. I did nothing wrong in any of these things. I did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong at all. And whether you look at the analysts, whether it's Greg Jarrett or Andy McCarthy or Jonathan Turley or your friend, the great one, Mark Levin, Dershowitz, all of them, they said there's no case here. Judge Jeanine was so incredible 2 weeks ago. She was unbelievable. Angry. She was angry. And you know why they were angry? Because they love our country and they see what's happening. It's totally unconstitutional what they've done. And if you look at the statements made by the people I just mentioned, and I'm not friends with any, I mean, I think they respect what I've done. They might respect me. They might not respect me. But they said there's no case. It shouldn't have been brought. And the way the judge charged the jury, told the jury, gave jury instructions, nobody's ever heard anything like that.
Joining us now, incoming counselor to President-elect Trump, Alina Habba. Alina, we love talking to you. It's wonderful to see you again. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. First, do you have any more details on the alleged misconduct by the juror in this case?
I do, as part of, obviously I'm part of the team, but those are not ones that I am willing to share at this point. What I can tell you is it's definitely egregious, despite the redactions, and without getting into detail, it is not a questionable thing. There was misconduct by the jurors, and it would have anything thrown out. Now, one thing we are learning, as you've delicately said, but I will say more directly, Judge Merchan's description of what happened and what falls under the Supreme Court's decision is so flawed and egregious and so ridiculous. He is completely disregarding the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest court that said that there is presidential immunity for official acts. And now he is trying to carve out in any way he can to preserve face and say that this trial was not a complete hoax, was not a complete disaster, an evidentiary disaster. And now we know there were issues with the jury being tainted. So, this is where we are. And this is where we've been for 3.5 years. And frankly, why I think we won.
Alina, so we've got allegations of a juror's misconduct in the case. Can you please tell us how this case is ripe for appeal? Legal experts have told us there are a lot of constitutional violations. The jury wrongly heard evidence that was protected by presidential immunity the Supreme Court upheld, like President Trump's conversations with Hope Hicks. The judge delayed sentencing indefinitely. That's clearly a due process right to a speedy trial violation. And now juror misconduct, it sounds like that juror was tainted. There could have been bias here.
Yeah, let's add some to that. Statute of limitations, which before they brought this, we knew was passed. This case was passed up by Cy Vance. It was passed up prior by Bragg, and then it was brought again. How about we also discuss that the White House was coordinating and sent their own guy into work for the New York DA from the DOJ? How about that? How about selective prosecution, election interference, tying this man up in a hoax case during an election cycle when he should have been campaigning? How about all of the things you said? But this is where we have problems. The judge should have recused. We've said it time and time again. We have one thing standing right now before all the appeals we will take on this ridiculous decision today, and that is the motion to dismiss that this judge gave us leave to file. I don't have much hope in Judge Merchan, but we do have pending motions. Go ahead.
Sorry, Alina. So, Senator Chuck Grassley, has said this is really scary that all Americans, right or left, he's saying take the politics out of it. When you see the lawfare abuses, it could happen to you. It could happen to viewers. That's why millennial voters, we heard, were so scared about what the Justice Department and what cases like DA Bragg brought. They feel it could happen to them personally. This was a books and records misdemeanor, like a parking ticket, but it got ramped up into 34 felonies. That's terrifying for the American judicial system. Final word.
Yes. Yes, and he was not there. He was in the White House as president. These are acts that were done by an accounting team at the Trump organization. And there is so many uncanny things happening here. And the American people are afraid, and they should be afraid, but not anymore. Because I can assure you that when we go in and when this administration gets to work, it will be top of mind to fix this lawfare and prosecution against a political opponent or any American. It should not happen.
Okay, Alina Habba, thank you so much. To recap the news, breaking news at the top of this segment, a juror is accused of misconduct in DA Bragg's case against Donald Trump. We're going to stay on that story. Thank you so much, Alina.